Hello everyone, my name is Zach and welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to continue the series of in-depth deck profiles on many of the awesome decks from the March 2012 format, commonly referred to as Dino Rabbit format. Today we're going to take a look at Agents. Agents is such a cool deck and I do think you guys are going to enjoy. So to begin, we'll begin with the main deck. We'll begin with the Agent Boss Monster, 3 copies of Master Hyperion. Master Hyperion is a fantastic boss monster. First released in the structure deck, you can special summon him by banishing one of your agent monsters, and then once per turn you can remove 1 light fairy monster and pop a card. He gets additional effects if you have access to Sanctuary in the Sky, which we are not playing because that card, in my opinion, is pretty bad. He is a very good boss monster that is easy to consistently summon and bring back because he is not locked behind any conditions. Next, we play 3 copies of the Agent of Creation Venus and 3 copies of Mystic Shine Ball. This engine is really good in this deck. Of course, it means you are playing some bricks, but that's part of Yu-Gi-Oh! At the end of the day. This allows you to get lights onto the board, lets you get into a free rank 2 play on turn 1. Or if you don't open that, you can go into like a Dark Mist play later in the game or a Daigusto Phoenix play late in the game as well. Pretty good. So one of the big unfortunates about this deck in this format, you have 1, the Agent of Mystery Earth, which is the Rhoda for the deck and is a tuner. Unfortunately, Earth is limited because of the list. And then 1 of the Agent of Miracles, Jupiter. Personally, card's alright. If Earth was at more than 1, I'd probably cut this. But for now, it's the best that we got. And this is it for the Agent lineup. For other fairies, we have an additional boss monster with the 2 copies of Archlord Christia. Everyone pretty much knows what Christia does at this point. She's just you cannot special summon while she's on the field, and if you have exactly 4 fairies in the grave, you can special summon her, but remember that Christia will always go back to the top of the deck when she leaves the field. And we don't play any of like the standard hand traps in this deck, but we do play 3 copies of Herald of Orange Light and an Honest. So that pretty much is it for all the fairy stuff. So now we just get into standard good stuff monsters, beginning with 3 copies of Tour Guide and a Sangan. Like I say a lot of the time in these videos, how good this engine is. It'll get you into any rank 3 you would like. It's a great first turn card. It's a great mid to late game card. Especially in this deck, it can be very, very dangerous. And it's a dark, which is nice in this deck because it lets us play BLS as like a 4th boss monster. Or as a 3rd boss monster, sorry. Next we play 2 copies of Genex Ally Birdman. This allows us to make synchro plays easier as it is our level 3 tuner. Because our other tuners in the deck are level 2 in the form of Orange Light and Earth. Next we have 2 Card Trooper. Card Trooper is really cool in this deck. I like the ability to just like mill my own Christias and bring them back with cards like Call the Haunted and Monster Reborn, which we'll talk about in a little bit. 2 copies of the Thunder King Ryo card is absolutely insane in this format. It just makes so many decks hate everything. And then last but not least, we have a copy of Black Luster Soldier, who is one of the most powerful cards in this format. So it's a pretty hefty monster lineup in a 42 card deck. So spells, this is a very small spell lineup. It is 6 spells, guys. So we'll begin with 2 copies of MST, 1 Heavy Storm, 1 Dark Hole, 1 Monster Reborn, and a Pot of Avarice. It's a very streamlined spell lineup. It is there for the exact reason that it's there. It is to get you the game when needed. Like, there's not any gimmick spells in this deck like you'll see in like Rabbit, where you're playing like Lance to make Wybos proc and stuff like that. For traps, we have 8 of them. So we play 3 copies of Call of the Haunted. And this deck, Call of the Haunted, is really cool. Since we are playing Card Trooper, there is a highly likeness that we will be milling copies of, Christia or Hyperion. So just being able to summon these just off a Call of the Haunted is really good, since these are win conditions in their own. Next we have the Double Torrential Tribute. Another very standard trap. Double Solemn Warning, and then Solemn Judgment. Again, very, very standard trap lineup as well. The deck is very streamlined to do what it's supposed to do, and that is do agent things. So the extra deck, you're going to see some cards you may have never seen before in this format specifically, but not here. We'll talk about the synchros. We play the Ally of Justice Cataster, which honestly isn't bad. There are a few different lines to make this. Cataster is just a good card still at this point in Yu-Gi-Oh! It is a 5, so you can make it via Card Trooper, like Orange Light, Card Trooper and Earth. Or you can do like Birdman and a Shine Ball at some point. There are multiple lines to get to the Cataster in this deck. It's probably the synchro I go into the most. Next, we have 2 7s. We have Ancient Sacred Wyvern. Card's pretty solid. I like it in here just as a potential comeback card. Don't play it a ton, but I feel it's very good. And then we have 1 Black Rose Dragon. Card is very strong. Very good board wipe. I have 2 8s in here. They don't come up very often, but I like to have access to them. We have Stardust and Scrap Dragon. You can cut the Stardust for sure for anything you'd like, but I highly recommend you play the Scrap Dragon for the off chance it does come up. Though it isn't very common, because simply of the tuner levels being, kind of all over the place, where your tuners are only 2 and 3, so you have to do some interesting synchro climbing. Next we have the 1 Mistworm, level 9. You make this card surprisingly easy in this deck. Like 4, 3, and 2 is the most common level I've made it at. By the way, for those of you who don't know, Mistworm, when this is synchro summoned, you just return 3 cards your opponent controls to their hand. Really cool card, nice board wipe. Card's fantastic. It is the Trishula replacement. And then the last synchro. This is still an experimental one, but I like it. We have the Ally of Justice Decisive Armor. The card is such a cool boss monster kind of thing, where it can just kind of win games anywhere. And for those of you who may not know, once per turn, if your opponent controls a light monster, obviously it's very dependent on what your opponent controls, but there are enough light monsters in the formats where it can matter. You can activate one of these following effects. Select a set your opponent controls and pop it. Send 1 card from your hand to the graveyard, and it's Heavy Storm. Send all cards from your hand to the graveyard, and then get rid of all lights. It's the Heavy Storm effect that I use the most when it comes up. And that is it for the synchros. Now for the XYZs, we'll get into the one that most people probably know, that being 2 copies of Gachi Gachi Gentetsu. He is a rock that takes 2 level 2 monsters. His face-up card be destroyed. You can detach material. Sounds kind of like Zen Mains, just worse. But All face-up monsters you control get 200 attack for each Xyz material on him. So, very good. It makes your stuff very bulky, very difficult to deal with. Next rank 2, we have the Daigusto Phoenix. Card's really good. It can attack twice during a battle phase, which is why we play it. Next, we have a copy of Shining Elf. I'm testing the Shining Elf right now. Card's kind of cool. When your opponent normal or special summons a monster, you can detach a material and make it lose 500. This is a card you definitely can cut, but I just wanted to test it for now. And last but not least, we have the Dark Mist. Dark Mist is really cool. It takes 3 level 2, so you will have to go through the whole Shine Ball Brigade if you do want to do this off of a Venus. When an attack declared involving this card and opponent's monster happens, you can detach him as Xyz material and have the attack of that opponent's monster, and then have it gain this attack. So it's really cool. It just kind of makes it bigger than everything because it has 100 attack. So it's just a royal pain in the ass to get around at times. And that's it for the level 2, or for the rank 2s. For the rank 3s, we play a Leviathan Dragon, a Zen Mames, and a Leviair. A Leviair is really good because you do banish a lot of cards after a while in this deck. So like a mid to late game Leviair sometimes is really clutch. Lets you get like a Venus back if you've like recycled the Shine Balls off like Pot of Avarice. It lets you make just a bunch of live plays happen. So yeah, that is it for the Agent deck profile for the March 2012 format. I hope you guys did enjoy. The deck is a ton of fun, and I highly recommend, if you have any things, you just give it a shot. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.